trending today.
A very good evening to you tuned in to Smart 24 TV. Thank you so much for joining us for business today. I'm Ryan Habway together with Pedson Mumbele and Samna Hanifa. We're here to bring you the insights on what's trending in the world of business from the international scene, locally, and of course here just to give you a glimpse and a feel of what is happening in the world of business. And of course, beginning with what is trending today. Over the weekend, the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, Honorable Ruth Nakabira, held a meeting with the Ugandan minister, with a Tanzanian president, which was quite productive, by the way. And the minister discussed Uganda's strategic plan to reduce fuel prices by efficiently importing petroleum products in bulk from international suppliers, ultimately driving down costs. Furthermore, President Suluhu was brought up to speed to the advancement of the East African crude oil pipeline project, which is a pivotal in, of course, transporting Uganda's crude oil to Tanzania's Tanga port for global export. We also know that both parties shared a positive outlook on the economic advantages of stemming from the importation policy and the ECO project. President Suluhu also commended Uganda's dedication to providing affordable energy and recognizing its pivotal role in stimulating economic growth and raising living standards. This development underscores Uganda's unwavering commitment to enhance its energy sector and foster regional collaboration within the energy industry. The government remains very resolute in its pursuit for implementation of importing the policy and advancing the ECO project with the goal of creating a more prosperous future for both Uganda and Tanzania. And of course, you know, this meeting brings us to what the president had released also over the weekend in regards to the reducing the middlemen or removing the middlemen in the fuel supply chain, where we were brought up to speed by president's, you know, history in regards to that. And of course, the update on ECOP as well. I know that currently they're undergoing the land acquisition for the ECOP project, and very soon, once everything is on course, and we are anticipating the first oil by 2025, we should be able to have the East African, you know, crude oil pipeline project in course. But of course, maybe to just also juxtapose with President Museveni's statement in regards to kicking out the middlemen out of the fuel supply chain. He made a statement where he began with greetings, and he said he had a number of issues to share with Ugandans, starting with being overcharged for the petroleum products from abroad, where we came into government and we assumed that civil servants who would deal with money, administration, procurement, etc., would deal with the policy, ideology, strategy, and security. However, in a number of cases, these wonderful people really let down their country. Take the issue of the importation of petroleum products. Uganda imports petroleum products of the magnitude of 2.5 billion liters per annum, valued at $2 billion. Without his knowledge, of course, the people were buying huge quantity of petroleum products from middlemen in Kenya, a whole country buying from middlemen in Kenya and or anywhere else. Amazing, but of course true. Why not buy from the refineries abroad and transport through Kenya and Tanzania, cutting out the costs created by the middlemen? Those involved were not bothered by these issues. Of course, like he mentioned, he said a check on one occasion a few months ago showed that middlemen were selling petroleum products at prices as indicated. At diesel, the middleman's price was $118, and the price from bulk suppliers or refiners was at just $83. Petrol middleman's price was $97.5, and bulk suppliers or refiners' price was $61.5. Kerosene middleman's price was $114, and bulk suppliers or refiners' price was at just $79. So he has just, you know, brought us up to speed. And then he says, however, he's in talks with, he has contracted a bulk of refinery suppliers able to give us the lower prices. And he has also discussed with His Excellency Ruto, the President of Kenya, and the delegation, like that story is just, you know, explained to us. The delegation is in Dar es Salaam discussing with Her Excellency, you know, Samia Suluhu. So that's the President's statement in regards to removing or cutting down the middlemen out of the fuel supply chain.
But I think looking at last week, this week that has just passed. Yes, the Minister for Media Development, Ruth Lankabira, said it too that he's going to Tanzania to meet President Suluhu over the same issue. But I think I'm seeing the regional collaboration towards the ECOP program. It's very important, and what they are saying that they are looking forward to enhance the energy sector between the two countries. I think it's very important. That's a very good road that they are taking, much as we've been having some, of course, negative energy from the foreign countries over the same ECOP program. So I think the two countries, yes, over the project. But so the commitment of the two countries, so far to me, I look at it as a way to go.
So maybe to just restate or re-echo on the president's statement of how much we are spending on fuel. He says that we are spending close to 2.5 billion liters per annum of fuel, and we are spending 2 billion US dollars per annum on fuel. And then he has just given us, the insights. I wish a producer could play for us the price of the refiner's price and the middlemen's. And of course, we know what really happened last week. Of course, Minister Lankabira, together with the UNOX CEO, announcing that they would want to take, full control of the fuel supply chain, where they contract a certain company called Vito to just, give us fuel direct rather than what has been happening through middlemen in Kenya. And of course, all
but I think we've been losing, like you've been saying, I think we've been losing too much through these middlemen. If we can just reach direct by ourselves, it's far better.
Like the president said, I wish it was fast-tracked earlier on, because this is a lot of time. I mean, he realized that, he even said it in his statement, that he realized that we are being cheated and he assigned someone, but nothing was done. But the issue, and of course all this is happening when we are even, that's the same thing that I was talking about last week. If you want to give the ownership, or not give the ownership, the full, authority to, to supply and, be the force of of supplying the fuel. But for all this time, we have not been able to track down the supply chain. We have been having middlemen. I mean, fuel is now compared to coffee. We know the middlemen that are in the coffee sector. So if we are having the same in the fuel, a very vital, company, a driver of the economy. I mean, and then you're giving the full, authority, and that's what ponders my mind. I mean, do we have the capacity to, to move forward with giving such a company, such a big, force or authority to move forward and ensure that the country is supplied with fuel and all the other places that have been, getting the fuel from, other than contracting the middlemen? Do we have the capacity?
But still, that's what I was also going to ask. Minus these middlemen, are we going to manage to do what they have been doing? We can also be like that, and we talk middlemen are bad, maybe we are losing money out of it, but do we have the capacity to act without them? These are the questions that we should ask.
Perhaps the Ugandans, what the Ugandans want to hear now is that the fuel problem has been tackled, the prices of fuel are going to go down. That is what ordinary Ugandans want to hear. If that happens, then UNOC is the right place, is good to go. But if it does not handle the fuel problem that we have at hand, then it is
the implications could be far-reaching, if, of course, up to that level. And if they're fed by any Ugandan, then that means that even up there, it's not really doing so well. But of course, that meeting didn't just talk about fuel. They also talked about the progress of the ECOP. Like I mentioned earlier, what I know is that now they are in the land acquisition process, and we have seen a lot of fire coming up that some of these people have not been paid. And I know there is also a team that is, even up crossing even up to the other side of the border in Tanga, looking at what is new with ECOP. But of course, ECOP cannot happen if we do not have if the other projects under the downstream have not been fully completed. Take ECOP as SGR, like a route that is just going to transport the crude for export. So,
I just love this part where you said that both parties shared a positive outlook on the economic advantages stemming from the importation policy and the ECOP project. That's very good to me. Otherwise, but I don't know how far with the intimidations that we've been getting from foreign people. But I think also, but much as we are going forward, as far as this ECO project is concerned, but also we should look at also things concerning climate change. We shouldn't just put things aside because
I'm sure that is fast-tracked. The noise was just happening because, just propaganda for the most part, because we have not even seen anything. Do you know how much we emit as Africa and how the other countries emit? 0.0 something less. So that was just propaganda over the people that don't want us, because they know what it means if you have our own fuel.
Of course, the oil has come at the time when we are all aware of the dangers of what it can do to the climate.
And several of course, mitigation measures have been.
I am sure. Of course, the people behind this whole project, they know what to do in order to protect the climate at the same time.
But of course, still in trending today and looking at Ugandan savings dilemma, the Deputy Governor Michael Atig-Ego of the Bank of Uganda recently pointed out that a significant portion of Ugandans resort to informal means of saving, such as storing cash in pots or under mattresses, resulting in no returns on their savings. He also stressed the crucial importance of the financial service providers ensuring that the security of their customers' savings are intact. In contrast, Honorable Watua Timothy, a member of Parliament representing Jinja West, contends that the rising expenses in the country have made it progressively harder for ordinary Ugandans to save money as they have in the past. We do have a clip, and I would like us to make sense of it after it has played.
When you talk of saving, you can only save excess cash. So for Bank of Uganda to report that Ugandans are no longer saving, it would be better to put the exact words that Ugandans can no longer save, because our expenditure has opened up and yet the earnings are shrinking. We used to have free education in the past, but today even what you call universal primary education or secondary school education, there are expenses involved. When it comes to medication, it is not as it was before. So those are all expense centers. When you get to university education, before one would access free education at the university and get almost a job instantly. It's no longer the case. So while the earning is shrinking, the expenses are becoming more and more.
Well, of course, he's like the Deputy Governor stressed Ugandans are saving and they are worried that it's resulting in no returns on their savings. But can you blame them?
You cannot blame them. Just like Honorable Batu has stressed that the expenditure is too much for Ugandans, because the education now, compared to the education of long time ago, education is expensive. When you go to health, the hospital bills are in excess compared to how it was in the past. Because then Ugandans could save; they could really save formally in the banks. But now they look at saving, and then like with even these quack people who come up and then steal their money. They're like, I rather stash my savings in the pot somewhere at home.
But even looking at the saving culture of very many Ugandans at the moment, we've been having different reports being tabled about the saving culture in Uganda. You realize that most of the Ugandans, we don't save to invest. That's a very big problem. We invest, we save for problems.
We save for the future.
We don't save for the future. We save for problems. We don't save to invest. And that's the biggest problem. If you look at the commodity prices that we are having at the moment, whereby everything is increasing, everything, much as UBOS has just released its inflation figures, that the annual inflation rate has decreased, but it doesn't mean that the commodity prices have gone down. It simply means the rate at which the prices are going high has reduced. Meaning the commodity prices are still high. You get? And then, like the minister has said, if the commodity prices are still high, we can't serve.
Yeah.
We cannot serve. We can't just serve because everything is expensive. You get? And then we earn more than we spend.
You're saying Ugandans don't save to invest?
They don't save to invest.
But Ugandans are
they
trying
save,
to invest.
They save. I take that. They save, but they save to solve problems.
Bank of Uganda also says that 6 out of 10 Ugandans save for consumption.
You see? 6
out of 10 Ugandans save for consumption. It should also be noted that according to the Financial Capability Survey, at least 25.4% of Ugandans save for investment, while 21.7% save for school fees. Of course, the others go a little bit down. We know why you are saving. But the biggest chunk, as you can see, is for investment and school fees. So one would be right to say that Ugandans are investing in education.
Maybe.
They're investing in their
and
health.
That's the culture that we have found. For a successful parent, they must have taught all their children up to the highest form of education for them to be ranked successful. Isn't that so?
The problem is they save and educate their kids, who later on go on the streets and start looking for jobs because jobs are not there. And by the way, very many Ugandans are educated, but they don't have jobs. The ones that have jobs are not paid based on the qualifications, because you find someone did masters, but the job they're having is paying them like 400, 600. That is not an investment.
That is why we have issues like export labor.
Exactly.
And you get most of Ugandans, and if you can go and check the statistics from Foreign Affairs or even Internal Affairs for people who will be filling passports, and the reason why they're doing that is that on an increased rate, Ugandans are moving outside in search of jobs. At least that is a testament.
Just to go to the airport one day or 2 days, you see how many Ugandans are flying their country. Ugandans are just, they have books, they have everything, they don't have
the jobs that are available and do not maybe pay us very well because we spend more than we earn.
Exactly.
So we're in a deficit. You get? We just work in a deficit, and there's no way how we can stop those guys from going outside looking for green pastures if we still have lack of employable jobs in the country.
Exactly.
But still, much as they're saying, when we come back to savings, much as we don't save as such, but still our saving culture is growing. I've seen something here, they're saying that Uganda still has a low saving culture, but savings have been growing, increasing from 4 trillion in 2011 to 20 trillion as of June 2022. You get? So much as we...
And now we're in 2023, so it could be like 25
So
trillion.
now that we're in 2023, maybe we have increased some, I think.
20 trillion?
Yes. As of June 2022 now.
But that is still little. For every Ugandan?
You see, we grow organically, slowly by slowly. You know our problems. You've just said that people are going outside looking for greener pastures, but at least that's it. Now look, 2011 we were just
back
4
then
trillion.
we were struggling with wars. There was political instability. There was hunger. Things now have changed. So you should not expect. You should expect a trajectory, not something that is just minimal.
Also, something that Bank of Uganda stressed, the deputy governor, he talked about these financial services that financial providers, like they should ensure that the savings of Ugandans are safe, because it is something that is driving many Ugandans out of saving now. Some of them do not trust these financial providers. We've had the issues that to do with people have come out crying with certain banks. They are losing their money and all that. He has also told them actually.
But I think the most important thing that he said from his statement is that resulting in no returns on their savings.
Yeah.
I think every financial institution that would want to offer any financial help or service should be having this as their objective. There is no reason why I should come to save with your company and I don't have any return on my investment. If you do not have, and it's justifiable, not just any return. Otherwise, you should not be a financial institution. In fact, you should not even be regulated or
because
given a license.
Use my money to invest.
Otherwise, I'll go back and save under my mattress. Yes, because if I'm giving you the money, it should be working. And of course, I want us to differentiate from what commercial banks are doing and these upcoming financial services are doing, and then fintechs and the others. You know, there are very many chains. Now even mobile money and telecom companies are now even making it easy for you to actually save money. So there are avenues. The avenues are not, no one is saying avenues are not there. The avenues are there, but what is the problem with Ugandans not saving? At least most, Ugandans would want to trust commercial banks.
Yeah.
That have quite a bigger number of experience, or they have testimonials from people. Banks like Centenary, Equity, Stanbic, and the rest.
Yeah.
And then financial now technologies offering all these products, because now these ones are the new babies on the market. Everyone is talking about, I would want to save with Mang Cash, Sophie Cash, Isete, but it requires a lot of financial literacy.
Exactly.
And by the way, they should also, much as you've mentioned them, but members, Ugandans should follow those companies that you've just talked about. See, there's also what we call regulations. There are those companies which are not regulated.
Yeah.
You get and Ugandans are not aware of that. They will not know that this company.
For some reason, I think Uganda must really pose as a big market for financial markets. And inclusion, at least in the sub-Saharan, part of Africa. Uganda, I mean, look at over the years the number of microfinance institutions. We talk of insurance, talk of the financial technologies, everything that has a supply chain of money. The uptake, and the number that have come up within all this time. But then, how about? I think just like they are coming up, which they should also, bring up the Ugandans and bring them up to speed on what they want. The other time on Friday, we had a story about financial service.
Medias.
Yes. About companies that cannot afford. Yes. Companies that cannot afford. So,
afford the services.
Financial inclusion cannot work without financial literacy.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's it should be deliberate effort from the concerned parties, But of course, from this conversation, it's going to lead us to a short break, and we're going to return with company news. Stay with us.